What's going on, everybody? Godzilla Options here with your market outlook and weekly setups going into March 6, 2023. Before we get started, make sure you like, subscribe, and follow to get notified when a new video filled with money-making opportunity drops. Don't want you to miss out on anything. As usual, we're going to take a look at the economic calendar for the coming week. We're going to check out the indexes, see what they look like, and maybe make some predictions on which way they're going to be going, and then get into some of the setups that we're going to be keeping an eye on. So let's get to it.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? So I'm going to go over my SPY outlook for next week. As usual, we are going to start off on the monthly chart. Notice we didn't go to 122 bearish rev strat to the downside, but price at the moment is back up here around 404, so it might be a 2-2 back up for the month. So chalk and money flow is above the zero line. MACD is trying to stay above the zero line slowly. Let's move over to the weekly chart. The week now, we made a beautiful outside bar here on the week. Notice down here, the chalk and money flow is above the zero, heading upwards. The MACD is trying to also get above the zero line and be positive. So we've been trading in a range for the week from 404.19 to about 392.33. If we do go 3-2 on the upside expansion, we'll definitely test this area over here, which is about 414-ish, call it 414.57. Then you have your 100-day moving average up here, which sits at 420.27. If it goes 3-2 expansion to the downside, I want to see it first target 380.68 act as support. If that support breaks, let's try to test 370.31 area, and also this is the 200-day moving average, so let's call it 371.25 level to test if it goes 3-2 to the downside. I want to quickly just take a look at the daily chart. If you look at the daily chart, notice it already did a 3-2 to the upside, so if it continues and does another 3-2-2 next week coming in, I think we can easily get it up to here, where it was a lot of resistance up here at 414.57 area. This is a nice PMG setup going upwards. If it comes back down on the day, I want to see the top of this 3-bar hold as support, about 398.69 area. And then if it breaks that, you can go ahead and test the bottom of this 3-bar at 392.33, and then if it breaks that, you have here your 100-day moving average, which sits at 391.82 level. And if you break even that, I would say your next support comes down here about 378.25 area, and that would be your targets. And that is my SPY outlook for the week. Thank you.
Next up, let's take a look at the economic calendar. There is pretty much no news going on Monday the 6th, which is nice. That would actually mean we might have a normal volume trading day. But then that is also going to be the setup day for Tuesday the 7th, when we have Redbook coming out at 8:55, and then Powell talks. He's testifying, but whenever Powell talks, the market moves accordingly. So be prepared for some volatility on Tuesday. If we move down to Wednesday, we have some mortgage information coming out. We also have more Fed Chair Powell testimony. So he's probably going to ruin both Tuesday and Wednesday for us. And then if we move down into Thursday, we got our jobless claim numbers coming out in the AM. Another Fed speaker at 10 a.m. Probably not really going to move the market much. Nobody really seems to be able to do anything from a market movement perspective except Powell, or maybe Bostic doing some random interview that says that he thinks XYZ, and the market reacts accordingly, even though he's just one vote on the whole committee. And then Friday, the last trading day of the week for next week, we have unemployment rate numbers coming out, as well as non-farm payrolls. So those are pretty much going to be the things to take a look at. Friday, big information in the AM before the market opens. Again, Thursday, jobless claims. and Fed talking on Tuesday and Wednesday. All right, let's take a look at the setups that our Discord bot had spit out for this week. These are going to be a lot of bullish setups, actually. We have a lot of hammer candles here, starting with our 1-2 downs with KO. This will be your typical rev strat, so we'd be looking for a 2 up here. And then we have our outside bar up, meaning it took out the previous week's low and high, and it ended up green on the week. SPY and QQQ are obviously the big ones right there, and they're pretty much dictated by the rest of the market because they are just indexes. So what else are we going to see? Well, let's go to the failed 2 downs. A lot of tech: Apple, Amazon, Cisco, Intel, Microsoft, UPSTU, a lot of tech here. And again, they all have hammer candles. So these are all very interesting plays. You'd be looking for the 2-2 reversals here. We have our 1 week's consolidation with AMD. That's really the only one that didn't have a failed 2 down. Just consolidation here with AMD with that hammer candle though. So I'd be looking for a 2-1-2 reversal to the upside with AMD, eBay, and SBucks, but definitely AMD since that hammer candle is there. Our 2 up continuation with AMC. Now look at the shooter candle on AMC. That one is interesting to me because, well, that indicates that we could be looking at some downside. The rest of the market seemed to be kind of moving on up. Why is AMC, while it did move up, why does it have a shooter candle, meaning the sellers have kind of started taking control? That could be people taking profits, and that could continue into next week. So that is AMC there. We have our PMGs to the upside, meaning, again, things have been going down. So we have PFE with a hammer candle, NEO, LCID, BABA, and MU. All of these have been kind of moving down, and they're getting ready for a push to the upside. We have our 1-2 up rev strat setup, so we'd be looking for a 2 down here with Roblox. I'm not going to deal with that one there. We have our 2 down continuations. Banks, healthcare, kind of been on the downslide, and utilities, but they all do have hammer candles, so that is definitely something interesting to me. Now, Bank of America, a little bit different than the other one with the outside bar down, Wells Fargo. Bank of America, I don't know why it has a hammer candle versus Wells Fargo with an outside bar weak, so that's something to keep in mind. I mean, these typically do move together, right? They're in the same sector. So if you're going to be trading one or the other, beware. But what this does tell me with Wells Fargo, at least, is that it definitely ended up taking out the previous week's high and low and ended red. So what does that mean? Well, we'd have to look at a chart to find out, and I think actually Bank of America is going to be on my watch list, so definitely continue to watch the video to be able to see that, PFE, and some other ones. All right, I have a few stocks that I really would like on this list, so I'm going to try to make each one of these about a minute or two, keep going very quickly. Let's look at PFE. It has been on a monster downslide. Look at this, week after week. We have a pretty raw pivot machine gun here. I mean, this thing could explode if it does actually decide it wants to start taking out all of the stop losses that people have set above their short entries here. But let's just take a look at the weekly. Well, we have our weekly high and our weekly low. We can see that we have a hammer candle on the week here. It is still a 2 down, but it is a hammer candle. So let's see if we can get a reversal to the upside above $41.73 here, and that is going to move us to the next price target, which would be 43 or 42.93, and then right below the monthly high, the previous monthly high of 44.20, and then continue to move on up. Why do I feel pretty good about this area moving back to the upside? Well, if we take a look back all the way into wow, what is that, June of 2021, this is the last time we came down to this area. Now notice the massive move up that it got. This is a bullish order block sitting here, right here down in this consolidation area that we've had. So again, if we do see a 2-2 reversal to the upside, I feel fairly confident. And again, I mean, it did actually come down. Price did come down into this same order block area this past week. So we then saw buyers start stepping in. So they seem to like this $40 level. That's really what this is telling me here. So we saw buyers step in. I want to see the buyers continue into this coming week to give us that 2-2 reversal to the upside and start taking out stops that people have. Now, I am definitely willing to say this area here is where my first concern would start being if we do see that move up, right? So why? Well, this is where consolidation happened. We almost had that reversal, maybe almost take place here, and then we decided no, things are going to continue to go down. So this area is definitely something that I'd be concerned about, but for the time being, if we do get that 2-2 reversal, I'd be willing to play PFE up into that $44 range. Apple, always an oldie but goodie. I'm looking at it as well this week. Here's why. Well, we have a 2-1, so we are still on an inside month. Okay, keep that in mind. But this last week here has definitely pushed up. So if we continue to get a move in the upward direction this coming week here, then I am going to be playing a 2-2 reversal above 151.11, and my first price target would be around 156.33. Now, there are a few things that I'd like to caution here. Let me go ahead and remove that price target. So, first and foremost, the last pretty big drop that we had that ended up kind of breaking down here was this bullish or bearish order block right here. So, we have this area from 147 to 155-ish. So, this is a bearish order block, all right? We came back up in and then abruptly dropped. We came back up in and we dropped again. Now we're coming back up here. So I would be willing to say that I would take Apple above 151.11, and I would definitely be keeping a tight stop loss on it in case we do get that abrupt drop. But I am willing to definitely play this out to 154.50. So that'd be a little over a $3 move, and I'd be pretty happy with the profits from that if we do end up seeing it come up this direction. Now, again, I'm looking for the 2-2 reversal. Now, if we do come up through this order block with some actual force, I would definitely continue to hold to 156.33, and then let's see if we can get a 2-up month to continue our upward trajectory here with Apple. So that is what I am looking at with Apple. One stock that I have on my watch list for this coming week, and probably a little bit longer even, is PG, Procter Gamble. And why? Well, we have a 2-1 setup right now on the month, all right? So we are on an inside month. Nothing crazy here, just some sideways movement. Really haven't figured out what direction we want to go. If we take a look at the weekly, we see the very last and I guess first week of March was this failed 2 down, and the body's a little too large to be a hammer candle, but I mean, this definitely indicates that buyers have taken control. So I like this for a 2-2 reversal to the upside above $141.30. And what I would probably be targeting is the monthly high of 144.10. And that is what my initial entry and my price target's going to be. If we zoom out of Procter and Gamble here and look at things on kind of a larger level, what do we have? Well, we see that this area down here ended up acting as some pretty strong support right here. So that to me is definitely an area that I'd be okay with definitely playing a bounce. In fact, if you actually move this up a little bit, we have this order block here, this bullish order block all the way back from February 2022, and it almost ended up being the same bullish order block here in October of this October 2022, and we just moved right up. Now we are sitting in some consolidation, so like I said on the weekly, I want to be able to see the fact that we're going to get that 2 up and go to the upside. Now this area, this fair value gap, is definitely something that I'll be interested in. It's right above the monthly high, the previous monthly high. So if we do come into this area and we push through the previous month's high with some force, some good volume, I'll definitely be looking to play this fair value gap to see it get filled, and that would be a move all the way up pretty much to the 150 area there. So again, to recap this, entry over 141.30, and the first price target would be the bottom of this fair value gap around the 144 area. And if we have a strong push through, I'd be looking for my final price target to be 150. I'm going to quickly go over two of the very conflicted bank stocks that I mentioned in the Discord watch list. Turns out after looking at the charts, they're really not all that conflicted. What we have here is an outside week on Wells Fargo, WFC. But if I zoom in, you're going to notice that this almost ended up being a doji. So it did recover itself from taking out the high and the low of the previous week and kind of came back up into this area. So if you wanted to play some range expansion, you could be looking at a 2 up or even a 2 down. But the way the market went this week, I mean, I'm not saying that we are going to officially be bullish, but I definitely can see it moving back up into at least the monthly high there. So if I take a look at Bank of America, which is the other one that didn't end up being outside bar, it ended up being a 2 down hammer candle. Now, let me zoom out a little bit here. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, the banks in general have kind of just been oscillating sideways. So while you do get some decent moves out of that oscillation, we're sitting here looking at the weekly. These aren't very, this isn't a trend by any means. So I mean, we are currently kind of trending upwards, but that doesn't really mean much considering we pretty much came back down to the low from January here of January 16 that week. So anyway, what I'd be looking for is a 2-2 reversal or a 3-2 if you're looking at Wells Fargo, or in this case the 2-2, the weekly high of 34.69 for a move back up to the monthly high of just 37 even here. Now, if I zoom out, here is the area that I would also be watching if Wells Fargo or Bank of America, I guess in this case, did come down. This isn't as clearly defined on Wells Fargo, but I'll go back to that chart here in a second. This is the order block, this bullish order block here from the last move that we had that just went monster rip up, which was back in January of 2021. So we had this monster move up, that bullish order block there. So we did come back down, test that in July of 2022, and then again in October of 2022. And then we actually came right back down to that area in December of 2022 as well. So while this hammer candle doesn't necessarily indicate that we're going to see a move up, a reversal or anything like that, we could, right? I could definitely play this very quickly short term, or what I would be doing if I was wanting to wait a little bit longer, probably set an alert around this 32 area. That way, when we do get a cross down, I'd start watching this particular order block to see if it does still have any relevance. And again, not as defined. If I take a look at Wells Fargo again right quick, that order block area really isn't as defined, as you'll notice. So if I really had to pick one to play that I could see some decent structure, I would definitely be playing Bank of America. Wells Fargo definitely is in a uptrend, as we can see. It's in an upward channel. So we've just been kind of oscillating there. So anyway, either one is something that you could play.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? The first stock on my weekly watch is going to be AMD. AMD has formed an inside week over here. As you can tell, let's take a look below down here. This chalk and money flow indicator just went above the zero line, and the MACD is also diverging upwards, it seems. So it's looking positive so far for AMD. If AMD goes 2-1 to the upside, you can look for entry here at 81.52, and then your next take profit would be all the way by 86 level. And if you kind of go to the left a little bit, you can see how many times price has gone right up to that. Like, look at all these double threes over here. We got right up to it so many times. We came back again, resistance and support. Again, support with the 3-bar right there too. If we go after that, the next take profit would probably be about $90, I would say. And then if we go 2-1-2 to the downside, I would say the first profit would probably be around 76 area, which is your 200-day moving average. And then underneath that, you can take profit at 72, which is also lines up with the low of this over here, and also this 3-bar at the same time. So those would be my targets for AMD, which is a pretty nice target either way if you look at it. Alright, what's going on? So the next up on my list for the weekly watch is my favorite again, Tesla. We have a repeat of last week because it made an outside bar. If you look below here, you have the chalk and money flow above the 0 line. You have the MACD also trying to diverge to the upside at the same time, which is positive. If you look up here, they formed the outside bar, but this outside bar range is so huge that it's like from 211.21 of the high all the way down to 186.01 to the low. You're not going to wait for the breakout. You'll be waiting forever. So what I would do and how I would play this is, again, just like last time, which worked out pretty well for us, is take your fibs and draw it from the bottom to the top, and then you expand over here. And then what I would do, just like last time, anytime it's over this 50% mark, 198.62, you just get calls targeting 201.60, 205.28, and then 211.23. And then if it breaks 3.2 to the upside, I would probably target this 3 bar up here at 233.40, which kind of lines up close to this 50-day moving average up here at 235. And the same thing for the put side on the way down. Anytime it's below the 50%, 198.62, you get puts down to 195.64, 191.41, and 186.01. If it breaks 3.2 to the downside, I would try to target this 200-day moving average down here, which sits at 171.75. So those are my targets and my play for Tesla.
That's going to wrap up this edition of the Weekly Watch. Make sure you join our free trading Discord with the link in the description field to get intraday strat setups with our custom bots. Also remember to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and click that bell to get notified when we drop another video. Happy trading!